Good morning. Day one. You say, well, Coach, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, as my good friend Zig Ziglar used to say, the best part of the day is still to come. So it must be morning. The definition of discipline. You do right no matter what the circumstances or the events. You always do what's right. The quote is an easy quote. You either have the pain of discipline, which is painful. To discipline yourself is painful. Or you have the pain of regret. It's pretty simple now. You want to lose a couple of pounds? You have the pain of discipline. Don't eat that chocolate sundae. Or you have the pain of regret. You do eat that chocolate sundae, and you have the pain of regret. You have two kinds of discipline. You have self-discipline, where you discipline yourself, which we'll talk about, and you have forced discipline. Now, we're talking about self-discipline when we're talking about goals, because you're going to write down 3 goals today. Now, you're going to have self-discipline to do these 3 goals. And each week we talk a little bit something about these goals. Well, today we're going to talk about how much do they cost. See, because even the Bible tells you that no man tries to build a house without first determining what it's going to cost. You'd never start to build a house until you determine what the cost was. You wouldn't want to take your car to an auto mechanic store and say, just fix it, I don't care what it costs. You tell them, I want to know what it costs before you start to work on it. It's the same thing with goals. See, when you sit down and you do that goal, you determine what the cost is. Now, the cost is either going to be time, or it's going to be effort, or it's going to be beliefs, or it's going to be relations, or it's going to be ego. It's going to be one of those. When I wrote the first book that I wrote it every night from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock at night. Come home, put the kids to bed, then I'd go to a room and work on this book. So my cost was time, 10 to 12 every night. Yours may be cost. If it's got anything to do with sales, or if it's got to do with school, if you want to make an A in English, you're going to have to spend some time studying. Maybe ego. If you want to be something great in athletics, you're going to have to give up your ego and self and do what's best for the team. If your goal is to do anything, it's going to cost you something. So beside those 3 goals that you write down, beside those 3 goals, I want you to write this week what it's going to cost you. Time, effort, beliefs, relationships, or ego. Because it's going to cost you something. See, there's sometimes when you do something, you set a goal and you do a goal, you may lose a so-called friend because it may not include that person. So you may have to lose some people along the way to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. But it's going to cost something. And you got to be willing to pay that cost. But it's important that you sit down the cost before you begin. And that's the beginning of being the best you that you can be.